Hi, my name is Iman. I'm 28 years old and I was just recently diagnosed with lupus. Okay, so I'm going to share with you guys how I found out I had lupus. Like, what was the whole process of me finding out I had lupus? It's a long story, so get comfortable. Okay, so it's a long story, so I'm going to try to condense it as much as I can without this being a hour-long video, because it was a process of me finding out I had lupus, but I did find out pretty quick. So I was diagnosed in October of 2020. So I'm gonna go back to August of 2020 is when things kind of, I guess, started off. I don't know, but so August of 2020, my sister and I, my twin sister, I have a twin sister. My twin sister and I decided that we wanted to start back on our fitness journey. We always go in and on and off with it. So we decided, let's get back on our fitness journey. Let's lose this weight and all of that or whatever. So we wanted to start this workout program, which we have done plenty of times before. It wasn't new to us. We've done it before, lost the weight, good results. So we were going to do this program again. And so we started the program. It was about mid-August when we started the program. So started working out 5 days a week. No big deal. What we normally do. Nothing too crazy. So started the workout program. Everything's going good. And then I had to write stuff down because I forgot. I be forgetting stuff. So yeah, so we started the workout program. Fine, good. Then I would say in like September, so this would be about a couple of weeks later, September, you know, you work out, your muscles hurt, they get sore. That's normal, right? So that's how I was feeling. Didn't pay much attention to it because that's just how it is when you work out. You haven't worked out in a long time, start back working out, your muscles hurt really, really bad. Well, they're sore. So that's how I was feeling. And then weeks were going by and my muscles were still sore. And I was like, this is kind of lingering on. It usually doesn't stay sore this long. Usually your body starts getting used to workouts and your body stops being sore unless you start doing something different. But I was kind of being consistent. So my muscles were still hurting really, really bad. And that kind of, it concerned me, but it wasn't that big of a concern. I was like, oh, it'll go away. So then I started feeling nauseous and lightheaded and dizzy. So I was like, okay, this is in September. So I'm like, okay, why am I feeling nauseous and stuff? So I'm like, whatever, because having headaches and me being nauseous is kind of, it's not unusual for me, but this was lingering on. So I was just like, okay, well, let me just change how I'm eating. I was just buying like simple like stuff with like no flavor and just trying to settle my stomach, drinking ginger tea and all that stuff to try to settle my stomach from the nausea and just eat like really bland foods. None of that was working. None of it was working. So then my muscles just started hurting increasingly bad. And I'm still not paying attention to it because I'm just like, oh, well, maybe because I haven't worked out in a long time, it's just hurting. And I'm still working out at this point. So then I'm going to say about late September, it just started getting really, really, really bad. Well, it started progressively getting bad. Then my hands, I don't know if it's showing up on camera, I can't tell. Then my hands started to hurt and feel like, and they start having these like bruise-like things on my knuckles. Are these your knuckles? Are these your knuckles? Whatever this is. I started getting bruises like here, and it was feeling like someone like slammed my hands in a car door. That's how my hands felt. I need to look at over here. That's how my hands felt like someone slammed my hands in a car door, and I was getting these like bruise like things on my fingers. So I remember taking a picture of it, and I was sending it to my sister, and I was like, why am like my hands looking like this? And she like brushed me off, and she was like, girl, ain't nothing wrong with you, and blah, blah, blah. So then I started getting these little rashes on my arm. I think it was just started off on this arm. I started getting rashes. I didn't think much of it because I was like, oh, maybe I touched something I'm allergic to, or something bit me or something like that. Because it started off small. If I can insert pictures, I will, but I don't know. I don't know yet. I'll see if I'll insert pictures. But yeah, so I started getting the rashes on my arms. And I wasn't really too concerned because I thought maybe something bit me or something like that. So yeah, so that was that. And then I started getting shortness of breath. Like it was hard for me, like little things that I would do, it was just hard for me to like breathe and catch my breath and things like that. So I was just like, well, maybe I'm just because at this point I'm still working out. So I'm like, maybe I'm just this really out of shape. So, and then it just got to the point where I would be in a shower. I take really hot showers. Like my showers be boiling. And I was just like, I was getting like super hot and couldn't stay in the shower for long. And I was just like, okay, I gotta get out. Like I started getting lightheaded, couldn't like catch my breath, and was feeling like I was gonna pass out. So I was like, hurry up and getting out the shower because I could not stay in the shower long. And I take long showers, and I could not stay in the shower long. So that started happening. And then my hands started hurting. It started hurting really, really, really bad. Like just really, really bad. And my joints started hurting as well. So that was September. So then October is when things really got just progressively bad. So, okay, so October. So pain starts to intensify to the point where where I worked, I would park in a parking garage. So when I park in the parking garage, I would be like on the third floor. So I'm not an elevator person. I don't like taking elevators. So I would take the stairs, which was no big deal for me. But at this point, me going up and down the stairs was excruciating. Like when I go up and down the stairs, I usually don't hold on to guardrails because they're dirty and I don't touch them. But I had to hold on to the guardrails. I was holding on to the guardrails and I was just like walking down the stairs and I was in so much pain. Like I felt like an 80-year-old woman. I'm 28. I felt like an 80-year-old going up and down the stairs. I would go up, I was holding on to the rails and I was just walking down, and every step was in excruciating pain. And I'm just like, what is going on? So at this point, I stopped working out because I was like, well, maybe I just need to stop working out and just let my body rest. So I remember I would come home and my sister, she would be doing her workout, and I was like, I can't, like, I just can't do it. Like I started to get tired. Like I was tired. Like the fatigue was, it was insane. Like being tired and being fatigued are two different things. I was miserable at work. I was so miserable. I could not wait to go home because I was so tired and I was just in so much pain. So when I would come home from work and my sister, she'd be doing her workout, and I'm like, I can't do it today. Like I gotta lay down. I gotta go to sleep because I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. And she's like calling me lazy. She's like, oh, you just lazy. You're making up excuses. And I was just like, no, like I'm really not. I was like, I feel terrible. Like I feel terrible. I'm so tired. And she dogged me, y'all. My sister dogged me for not working out and going to sleep. She dogged me. So I was just at that point, I was just like, whatever, you're going to have to say what you got to say because I'm tired and my body hurts. So then I was one day I was at work, and this was like my breaking point. Like I couldn't fake, because at this point I was going to work and I was faking it. Like no one knew that I was like, I wasn't feeling good and things like that. And at this point my rashes started progressively getting bad, getting worse. They were getting really, really bad. They were all over my arms, on both arms at this point, and they were on my legs. So they were getting really, really bad at this point. So so I go to work one day, and at this point I was just like, I can't fake it anymore. I can't fake it anymore. So I had laid my head down on my desk, and I was just like I can't do this. Like I feel like something is wrong. Something is wrong. So, and mind you, I didn't go this whole time. I didn't go to the doctor. Yeah, I know. I didn't go to the doctor. So, yeah, so then I had my head down on the desk, and then one of my coworkers, she come up and she was like, "What's wrong with you, girl?" Whatever. So I just leaned up, and I just look miserable. Like my face, like I just look, everything, all my pain and stuff showed on my face. So she was like, "What's wrong with you?" or whatever. And I was just like, nothing's wrong. So she runs and tells HR, is like, something's wrong with Iman, and she needs to go. She needs to go. So she wasn't being like mean or malicious or whatever. She was just like, something's wrong with her. She needs to go home. So my HR comes out, and she's like, and I put my head back down on my desk, and my HR comes out, and she's like, Iman, come to my office or whatever. And at this point I lean up, and I just burst out crying because I just could not hold it in any longer. I just could not hold it in. So go back in her office, and she's like, what's wrong? And I was just like, I don't know, whatever. And she's like, okay, well, just take the rest of the week off and come back next week, and and maybe you'll feel better if you just take a week off. So I went home. So I got my car, drove home, and I remember, well, at this point everyone thought I had COVID. Everybody, because this is the age of COVID, everyone thought I had COVID. So they was like, you need to go get a COVID test and just take the rest of the week off and let us know your results. So I go home, and I remember I got home. Okay, so I get home from work, and what happened? Oh, I remember. I was feeling so just terrible. So I remember I plopped down on my bed, and I just started crying. I was crying, just bawling, crying, because I was in so much pain, and I didn't know what was wrong and what was going on. So my mom walks in my room, and she's like screaming at me, saying, you need to go get a COVID test. You need to go make an appointment to get a COVID test. And she's just screaming at me to go get a COVID test. And I'm like, please just stop. Like, I feel terrible. And she's just screaming to the top of her lungs, like, you need to go get a COVID test. I knew they was going to send you home from work. And just going off on me. I was so weak that I could not even pick up my phone to even try to schedule to get a COVID test. Because around where I live, you have to schedule to get a COVID test unless you get a rapid. So my sister had to schedule my COVID test, and it was for like, I think it was like a couple of days, I think like 2 days out or something, that I could get my COVID test. So the next day, I think it was like the next day, I was on FaceTime with my older sister. And I remember I was just talking to her on FaceTime. I was in my bed, and I have the phone like this, and I leaned my leg up, and my arm was like this, because at this point I have rashes like all over here and on my leg. And I remember I leaned my leg up, and I was like this, and I was on the phone with her. So she sees my rashes. And this was the first time she seen my rashes. I think I mentioned it to her before. I can't remember if I mentioned them to her, but this is the first time she actually saw the rashes. This is my older sister. So she's like in the camera, she's like looking like, Iman. And I was like, what? And she's like, that's not normal. Those are not normal. And like I said, if I can insert pictures of what they look like, I'll insert them. If I'm comfortable inserting them. I don't know. I'll see how I feel. So she's like looking at him. She's like, Iman, she's like, that is not normal. You need to make a doctor's appointment right now. And I was just like, still brushing it off. Even though I'm feeling bad, I'm still like brushing it off. I'm just like, whatever, like, it's fine. And so she's like harassing me. So I get off the phone with her. And then like a minute or two after I get off the phone with her, she's sending me like articles, like of what it could be or whatever. So I'm like looking at the articles, and it was something about Lyme disease, and I can't remember what all the other stuff was. So I'm not gonna lie, that kind of freaked me out a little bit. So I was just like, fine. So I texted back and I was like, fine, I'll make a doctor's appointment. So I make a doctor's appointment. I think it was like for a couple of days after that. So this is when shit just goes down. So I get up that morning to go to my doctor's appointment. I get out of my bed and I'm walking to the door to walk out of my room. And all of a sudden, my vision, I see my vision going away. Like it went down and it black, just black. I couldn't see anything. Everything was black. Like if I close your eyes real tight or put something on top of your eyes, that is how it was. Like I was blind. I couldn't see anything. So I'm like freaking out. So I'm like walking to my door, like trying to feel my way to the door. I open my door and I try to feel my way to the bathroom. I walk to the get in the bathroom. I sit down on the toilet and I'm like this. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? What is happening? I'm blind. I can't see. So I'm like just sitting there on the toilet, just rubbing my eyes. And I'm like freaking out. And then all of a sudden, like my vision just opens back up, like really slow. And then I can see again, but it's still kind of like blurry. So I'm just sitting there like, what the hell just happened? So I'm like, okay, all right. So I use the bathroom, I wash my hands, I walk out of the bathroom, and then I just lose control of everything. And I fell to the ground. I mean, I couldn't even put my arms out to even like catch my fall. I just bam, fell to the ground. And we have hardwood floors in our living room. And I mean, it hurt when I fell. I just went boom on the ground. And as I was falling, I started screaming for my mom. I'm like, Mom! Like the scream was like terrifying scream. And it was just a reaction for me to scream for my mom. I was like, Mom! So my mom, she just comes running in. I don't know where she was. She just come running in. And she's like, what happened? And I was just like, I don't know. I just fell. And she's like grabbing her phone. And she's like, do you want me to call 911? Do you want me to call the ambulance? And I thought, I was like, all right, I'm trying to pay no ambulance bill. So I was like, I was like, don't call 911, don't call no ambulance. So she's like, she's screaming at me, I'm still on the ground at this point, and she's like screaming at me. She's like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? So I'm like trying to calm down, and I was like, just go in the kitchen and give me some water. Just give me some water. So she goes in the kitchen, she gives me some water. I'm still on the ground because I can't get up. She gives me the water, so I take a sip and I just like put it down. I was just like, let me just lay here for a second before I get up. So I lay there for a second. My mom just like sitting there panicking, like she's on her phone. She's like, what do you want me to do? So I was like, let me try to get up. I could barely get up. Like my body was so weak. So she helps me up. And at this point, I'm just like super weak, like I'm weak. So she helps me back to my bed. And I hadn't put my clothes on or anything. So at this point, I knew that I could not drive to my doctor's appointment. So my mom had to cancel her hair appointment so that she can take me to the doctor. So she put some clothes on. I ate a little bit, and then we went to my doctor's appointment. All right, so we get to the doctor's to the doctor's office. And me and my mom walk in, and the nurse was giving me the paperwork to fill out, and she's like, oh, what are you here for? And I was like, I was like, my muscles hurt, I don't really feel really well. And I was like, my hands hurt, I have rashes on. But I had a jacket on, because at this point I was embarrassed by the rashes. So I always had a jacket on. So I either had a jacket or long sleeves. Like today I have on long sleeves. So she's like, so I'm telling her about the rashes in my hands, and she's like, oh, I think you have COVID. And I was like, I really don't think that I have COVID. I think this is something else. And she's like, no, I think you have COVID. And I'm like trying to show her my rashes, like trying to take my jacket off and show her my rashes. She's like, no, you need to go get a COVID test before you can come back in here. And I was just like looking at her. And at this point, I'm feeling miserable. Like it hurts to walk. Like I feel nauseous. Like my head is hurting so bad. Muscles hurting, everything. And I'm like really looking at this lady. I'm just like, for real, like you're gonna really make me leave. And she's just like, yeah, you can't come back until you get a COVID test. So I'm irritated at this point. My mom's just like, let's just go and let's just go to urgent care and get you a rapid COVID test. And I was just like, whatever. So we were supposed to get the rapid COVID test, get the results, and then go back to the doctor's office. At that point, I was over her, and I was like, I don't even want to go back. So went to urgent care. You had to sit outside and fill out the stuff from your phone and wait for them to call you back to get the test. So we do all that. Me and my mom sitting in the car waiting for them to call me to come in and get the test. So finally they call for me to go in. My mom had to sit out in the car. So I go in and go to the back with the nurse, and she's asking me about my symptoms and stuff. So I tell her, and then she's like, have you ever had a COVID test before? I was like, yeah. So she's like, well, whoever the other lady is was gonna come in and swab my nose. So I'm like sitting there, and then the other nurse practitioner, she comes in and she's like, well, what's wrong? And I'm like, I was like, I know that I don't have COVID. I was like, but I'm just getting the test. And I was like, so she sat down beside me. So I show her my hands and my rashes. Oh, I told myself I wasn't gonna cry. So I show her my rashes, and she's like looking at me, and like her eyes get like really, really big. And she's like, I think that this is lupus. She's like, this looks like lupus or an autoimmune disease. So I'm like looking at her like, what you mean? Like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, I don't know for sure. So when she says this, I bust out crying. Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, nothing like this runs in my family. Nobody in my family has it at all. So I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, I got lupus or whatever. So she's like, well, we can run some tests and get some blood and run some tests and try to figure it out. So I was just like, at this point, I'm freaking out because I'm just like, I thought this would have been like some type of infection or something. Give me an antibiotic and this can be done. And so she's like, well, we're going to still do this COVID test, and then we can try to get some blood work or whatever. So at this point, like while she's doing this, like I'm texting my mom, I'm texting my sisters. And I'm just like, yo, this lady is telling me that I could have lupus, that this looks like lupus. So my mom and my sisters, they're freaking out. They're like texting me. They're like, what? And then it's like, what? Like, I mean, like everybody's freaking out. I'm freaking out. So they come in, they do the COVID test, the swab, and then I leave, and I think I had to sit out in the car and wait for the results. So I go back to the car, and I'm like telling my mom, I'm like, she's telling me that I might have lupus and this and this and this, and like we're just freaking out. And I'm like texting my sisters, and we just all freaking out together. So all this is kind of vague to me. So I think I don't know how long we waited for the COVID test. COVID test came back negative. Like I knew it was gonna come back negative. So I went back in there, and I was telling her, I was like, okay, like what do we need to do? Like, do we need to draw some blood or whatever? So it was just a whole, I'm condensing stuff because it was just a lot. So all in all, we get the blood test. They draw my blood, and they said they were gonna send it off to the lab, and then I'll get my results. She'll call me when my results come in. So she gives me like these prednisone packs, where prednisone is a steroid. So she gives me these packs so that I can take, I guess, to help with inflammation in my hands. That's basically when my hands were inflamed and my muscles were inflamed. So go home. I take those medications like I'm supposed to, and at this point I can't go back to work because I'm progressively getting worse. So I'm like calling them like I can't come back. I can't come back. So yeah, so I'm just basically stuck in bed at this point because I feel so bad. So I'm taking the medicine like she's telling me to, but I'm not feeling better at all. So I think it was like some days later. I don't remember how many days. Some days later, she calls me. The nurse calls me, and she's like, "Yeah, your test results came back, and it's positive. You have lupus." And I actually took it very well at that point. I was just like, "Okay, thank you, whatever." So she referred me to a rheumatologist and told me to make an appointment with the rheumatologist. So I was like, "All right, fine." So I call, make an appointment with a rheumatologist, and so I couldn't get the appointment for another like 2 weeks. Let me cut this off. Okay, I'm back. So so I couldn't make the appointment for another 2 weeks. So I had to wait 2 weeks before I can see the rheumatologist. And at this point, I'm just like, I just feel so bad. Like, I need to see someone now. Like, I feel terrible. Like, I can't wait 2 weeks. So I had no choice. I had to wait. So, because that was the earliest appointment. So taking the medicine that she gave me, it's not working at all. And so while in this 2 weeks that I'm waiting, I think it was like 2 weeks or a week and a half, something like that, too damn long. So while I'm waiting for this appointment, I'm getting progressively worse. Like, I'm at the point where I can't even walk by myself. Like, my mom or my sister had to help me to the bathroom. They had to help me like take a bath and like all of that stuff. Like, I couldn't do anything. Like, if I stood up on my own, I was gonna fall. So it was like plenty of times where I would like my sister or my mom was helping me walk, and I was just like, I'm about to faint. So they would have to like put me down really fast because I was like about to pass out, about to faint. So I think I mentioned all of that. Let me what else happened? I don't think I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned it before. I found out I had lupus and my hands was hurting really bad. Like, I didn't know what was going on. So I was like boiling hot water and like sticking my hands in boiling hot water just to like relieve the pain of how just painful my hands felt. And that was probably not a good idea, but it was just hurting so bad that I was just like, I need some type of relief. So I was just like boiling water and putting my hands in water because they were hurting so bad. So yeah, that was before that. But so yeah, so I was waking at okay, so yeah. So fast forward, get to the doctor's appointment. But at this point I could not walk at all. I had to be wheelchaired into the doctor's office, and I'm sitting there waiting and I'm miserable. Like, you can just see it. Like, at this point, like, it was no faking it at all. Like, you can just see how miserable I was. So I'm just like laying in that wheelchair, and I'm just like, I can't, like, I didn't even know what to do. I was just in so much pain. So call me back, and me and my sister drove me there. So go to the back to the office, and the doctor, he's like looking at no, this was the other doctor's appointment. Okay, so this doctor's appointment, he's just like, oh, I'll give you this medicine. He's prescribed me some medicine, and was gonna give me a shot in my butt, and then I had to go to the hospital and get some blood work. So I was like, so there's no pain relief from this appointment. He was like, no, it's gonna take a while for the pain to go away. It's gonna be about he said I should start feeling better about 5 days, but it will take like up to 6 months for them to get everything together. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, I have to feel like this for at least another week. And I was just like, can y'all just please just give me something? So he was like, well, if I give you this shot, then you can start feeling some stuff, some pain relief today. And I was just like, whatever, just give me the shot. So He prescribes me the medicine. The nurse comes in and I don't even know what it was. She shoots me in my butt, and then they send me to the hospital to get some blood work. So at all this time, I'm miserable. I'm just so miserable. So we get to the hospital, they do the blood work, and I have to make another appointment for 2 weeks, for another 2 weeks. Okay. So I had to make an appointment for another 2 weeks for him to go over my blood work, which I thought was crazy, because I'm just like, why won't he go over my blood work before, like when they get the blood work back? Why can't he just call me and tell me what's going on? So I was just like, whatever. So make the appointment for another 2 weeks out, go home. I'm taking the medicine like I'm supposed to. And at first I started feeling better. So I'm just like, all right. So I started feeling better, and I could like get up, and like I was still struggling, but I could still like kind of get up and go to the bathroom on my own. And you know, like just little things, just taking it slow. But I still was kind of like struggling. But then I don't know what happened. It just flipped, and it just got progressively worse. It got to when my arms swelled up, my legs swelled up, literally my whole body swelled up. I wasn't using the bathroom. I didn't even notice I wasn't using the bathroom until my sister, I was like, I was bedridden. I was stuck in the bed at this point. My sister like comes in my room, and she's like, Mom, you haven't used the bathroom all day. And I was just like, oh, like I didn't really notice that I wasn't using the bathroom. So, oh yeah, and I like when I tried to do my urine sample, the first time when I was getting my blood work done, I couldn't pee. Like it was hard for me to pee. Like I couldn't get anything out. So, because like my sister was yelling at me, she was like, why can't you use the bathroom? And I was just like, nothing's coming out. Like I can't pee. I cannot pee. So I had to like force myself to pee, and like literally it was just like this much that went in the cup. It was so small. So yeah, so I couldn't pee. Like nothing was, like I couldn't pee. So I think like once I started taking the medicine, then I was able to like I could pee again. So yeah, so that started happening, and then like I got progressively worse. Body started swelling up, stuck in the bed. I could not move my arms. Like they were so heavy. My legs were so heavy. Like I kept saying, I was like, they feel like bowling balls. Like my legs and my arms, like my whole body feels like a bowling ball. And it was just like so heavy. Like if I like just trying to lift up, it was just so heavy. Like I couldn't even I couldn't shower. I couldn't brush my teeth. I couldn't wash my face. I couldn't do anything. And I just felt so gross, but I was in so much pain that I could not do anything. I was just stuck in the bed. Like my mom and my sister, they had to feed me. They had to do it. And at this point, I was just like, I cannot wait 2 weeks for this appointment. I was like, something is wrong. It is getting worse. And I need to call him and make an appointment like now. Like I need to see him now, because something is wrong and I'm not getting better. So I finally get in touch with him, and I was just like, something is wrong. Like the medicine isn't working and I feel worse. So he's like, okay, well, come in tomorrow morning, and I'll come and I'll see you or whatever. So, and I dreaded having to go in, because I was just like, oh, I gotta get out of the bed. I gotta get in the car. I gotta go to, and like literally if I wasn't laying down, even laying down hurt, but if I wasn't laying down, like just lifting my head up, my head was so heavy. Like it was just hard to keep my head up. And I was just like, oh, so I dreaded going to this doctor's appointment, but I knew I had to go because something was wrong. So I get to the doctor's appointment, had to be wheelchair in again. Get to the doctor's appointment, my sister's with me, and get to the back, sit there, and he's like quiet. He's like really quiet. So like me and my sister were just like, so I'm like laying like this because I am miserable. So I'm like looking like this, and he's just like really quiet. And then all of a sudden he just turns to me and my sister, and he's like, you need to go to the hospital. And I was like, what are you talking about? What do I need to go to the hospital? He was like, you need to go to the hospital right now. So I'm like freaking out. Me and my sister's like looking at each other like, what? Like, what do you mean? He's like, you need to go to the hospital right now. you need to go right now. So I'm just like, oh my God, like what, like, why do I need to go? Like me and my sister we're just freaking out because like we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was happening. So, so I had to go, well, we went home first. So Ayana's my sister, my twin sister, so that she could pack my bags. So, so I sat in the car because I was like, there's no way I'm getting out of this car and like going back and forth. I just feel so bad. So she goes in the house and started like packing my bags. And then we called my mom and my sister, my older sister. I think I called my mom, my older sister, and my dad, and told them that they said I had to go to the hospital. My mom starts hysterically crying and just hysterically crying. My sister, I don't even remember what she did. I don't know if she cried. She probably didn't cry. I think she did. I don't know. My older sister, we called her and told her. So I didn't have time to cry, and me and my twin sister, we didn't really have time because we're just like, okay, we don't have time to like sit here and cry and stuff. Like we need to get to the hospital. So we're like, and then we had to go to Atlanta. So we're like, oh my God. So we like trying to hurry up and like we finally get to the emergency room. That was a whole mess. Finally get in there, and then they needed a urine sample again. So I was like, okay, I think I can pee in a cup this time. So Ayana helps me to the bathroom. Ayana, my twin sister, helps me to the bathroom, and then I had to pee in a cup. I can pee this time. I peed, and my urine was brown. It was brown. So I was like, I remember pulling the cup up, and my eyes went like this. I was like, why is my urine brown? So I'm like showing Ayana, my sister, and I'm like, look, I was like, look at my urine. And she's like looking at it like, I don't know. So I'm like, oh my God, like something is wrong. So yeah, so we, I don't remember. It was just so much. Then I get to the room where the doctor is supposed to see me. I'm laying in the bed, and he comes in, and my urine is like sitting on like the table thing. So he's like, he said something about my urine. I'm mixing stuff up at this point. I don't remember. So I know he looked at my urine, and he was like, yes, that color. He was like, because your muscles are breaking down into your urine. And I was like, okay. He's like, yeah, that's why you're in so much pain. He's like, your muscles are basically, they were dying. My muscles were dying. So I was just like, oh my goodness. So it's this thing called CK levels. Your CK levels, and it's like your the enzymes from like your muscles and your heart and stuff like that. Something like that. Everybody has this enzyme in their urine, but from the scale that my doctor uses, it's only your numbers are only supposed to be from like 25 to like 200 and something, within that range. My numbers was almost at 21,000. So they were way too high. So supposed to be 25 to 200 and something, and my number was almost 21,000. So I was like, I believe it, because my body was on fire. Like I felt like I was on fire. That's not even a good description of how I felt. I can't even describe the pain. So yeah, so some stuff is just a blur, but they do all that. I can't remember. Then they admit me into my room. I don't want to go through everything that happened in the hospital, because it was just a lot. My hospital experience was very, very traumatic. So I don't really want to talk too much about what happened in the hospital. I'll just give a brief overview of what happened while I was in the hospital. So basically, I had to get an MRI on my legs. Well, on top of them, like pumping me with medicine, like they were like, IV pill. I was taking so many pills, like twice a day. I was taking they would hand me a cup full of pills, and I would have to do that like twice a day. I had to get shots like twice a day. I had medicine like constantly running through my my IV, and I had to get a blood transfusion because I was losing blood. What else happened? I had the MRI, on my legs, which took forever. The first time I went in there, I was in there for like 4 hours. And then the second time I went in there, I was in there for like 2 hours. just them doing the MRI on my legs. And then I don't remember what they found, and because I was just so out of it, like I couldn't remember anything, like I couldn't focus, like I just, like my mind was just everywhere, and I literally forget everything. So I probably don't even remember half of my hospital experience, but I know it was traumatic, and I don't ever want to go back. I don't ever want to go back. So I got a muscle biopsy on my leg as well, and I have a scar, so I had to get surgery on that. And I was just like freaking out on that because I was just like, y'all about to cut me open? Like, what? So she's like, yeah, we just need just a little chunk of your muscle. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So I had to do that. And then I had to get a kidney biopsy because the lupus did get to my kidneys. So I was like, oh my God. So I was just like, what does that procedure entail? And he's like, oh, it's just a needle because your kidneys are back here. So he's like, or this side, one of them, I don't know. He's like, oh, it's just a needle. We just stick it back there and we just get a piece of your kidney. And I was just like, on who? And he's like, yeah, you're back. And I was just like, you're sticking a needle in my back. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, y'all gonna sedate me? And he's like, no. He's like, it's a quick procedure. You just feel, just a little stink. And I was like, I don't want to feel nothing. So he's like, that I was probably getting on their nerves because I was just like, like you're not gonna stick anything in my back. So he's like, you'll be fine. He's like trying to calm me down. Like literally, like the nurses were like trying to calm me down. The patient techs were trying to calm me down. He was trying to calm me down. And I was just freaking out because this is time of COVID. Visitors are very limited, so I was pretty much by myself. Like Ayana would come and visit me, and my dad came and visit me, but the visiting hours were so short. I was basically there by myself. So they did the biopsy. I think they ended up sedating me because I was just that terrified, and I was just like, because I was already in so much pain, and I was just like, y'all want to just add on to it. So yes, I had to get that muscle biopsy, which was painful, and it still kind of hurts today. I have pants on, so I can't show the scar, but yeah, so I had stitches right there. They did the MRI, they did the muscle biopsy, and I think, like I said, I don't want to get too much into it, but fluid built up in my lungs. My oxygen dropped. My sugar had dropped to like, I should have been in a coma. How low my sugar was. It was like 30, I think it was 39. My sugar had got down to like 39. And I just remember that when they did the sugar test and it was like 39, and just the patient, they was like screaming. The patient tech, she like shoving food in my mouth, shoving juice in my mouth, and then the nurse, she's like running and getting like the, I don't know what it's called, but it's basically sugar water, and she's like sticking me and like pumping it into my system, trying to get my sugar to go up. And I was just like dizzy, and I was just like about to like fall, and I was just like this, like, oh my God, like I'm dying. Like I literally, and I was in the hospital for almost 3 weeks, and I literally thought, I was like, this is it. Like, I was like, this is how I'm about to go. Like, I was like, I'm about to die. So, oh God. Whew, get it together. Lord. So, so that hospital experience was super traumatic. But yeah, finally get my numbers better. They still weren't good when they released me from the hospital, but the combination of the medicine that I was on, it started seeing like really good improvement, that my numbers were going down at a steady rate. So they felt comfortable enough to release me from the hospital. Release me from the hospital and just let me, recover at home. So when I got home from the hospital, my numbers still weren't good. They still weren't in a good range, but they were trending down. So I get home, and I had I still couldn't walk when I got home. I had to like have a wheelchair not a wheelchair, a walker. I had a walker. I felt like an old lady. Like I felt like an old lady. I had a walker. I had a chair in the shower. I still have that chair in the shower though. It's actually pretty convenient. I have a chair in the shower because I couldn't stand for a long period of time. I still use that chair because it's just convenient. But yeah, so I had a chair in the shower. I had a wheelchair. I still needed help going to the bathroom, but it started getting progressively better. So that was like, so basically, so all of November, pretty much I was in the hospital all of November. I was in there from the 3rd to the 20th. November 3rd to the 20th. And then I came home, and then I basically have been recovering from home ever since. So it is February 2021, and I am just now feeling better. Like I'm just now feeling back to myself. Yeah, so my lupus currently is still active. But I'm still taking medications to have my numbers to go down and stuff like that. But right now my numbers are looking really good. My kidneys are doing good. My liver, oh yeah, my liver was affected as well, but it's doing good now. So yeah, I think everything right now is good. My rashes that I have, they're a whole lot better than they were. I guess I can show them. Yeah, so these were my rash. Well, this is them looking better. They were way worse than this. So that's that on that arm, and then this arm looks better. And then that right here, and then I have some on my legs as well. But I'm not gonna do all that. So so yeah, so now I have my rheumatologist, I have cardiologist because my heart rate is constantly too high. What else? My kidneys are good. I think that's it right now. I still have my days, but as of like lately, within like the last couple of days or so, I have been having like really good energy and just really feeling back to myself. But I don't want to push it too far because I don't want to flare up. I don't want that. I don't want to do that again. So currently my hair is falling out. Yeah, I'm a little worried about that, about my hair falling out. My locks up here are probably gonna fall out, but we'll just have to deal with that when that as it go. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened, how I found out I had lupus, and how I'm dealing with it. So yeah, that's my lupus story, and thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.